Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I wanted to try something a little different today. Now then, if you've been in the community for a while, you know that there's a person called Rexeljet, and he makes drawings he's creating characters based on a single illustration from the Railway series, or getting a passing mention. And I thought, why not talk about my own headcanons for these characters, and, well, see what you guys think. Now, just to let you know, I'm only going to be talking about characters he named based on a single illustration, or getting a passing mention. So, unfortunately, I won't be including any of Sodor's loan engines. So, I thought, why not start with Percy's workshop friends? So, let's get into it. Alright. Blake. Blake is a very sad engine. He is a Curse Steward Victory class, and he served during the First World War, and he was withdrawn from service and sold to the workshop shortly afterwards. And despite his young age, he has plenty of sad stories to tell. All about people and engines that are no more. Now, just to let you know, similar to Team Zug's headcanon for them, Top Up purchases all of them at once, and he's wealthy, okay? Anyways, for Blake, I'd have him be a Tidmouth station pilot. I'd just have him be a station pilot, and he would occasionally shun goods or passenger trains for others. And he still tells stories when there's nothing else to do. And they can still get quite sad, but they're generally not as joyless as they used to be. And once he learns about some of the positive things in life, he becomes a little more happier. Now then, next up we got Leo, the prairie tank engine. Now then, a fun fact about Leo, he is not based on a specific engine, but rather a model. But it's just a general representation of the 262 tanks. And he's the type of engine that overthinks everything and worries a lot. When he was first built, he was worried that no railway would be interested in buying him. Then he got worried that too many railways would be interested in buying him, and he'd have to pick one. But Topham solves his problem and brings him back to the NWR, and well, despite this, when he has to make a decision on what job he has to do, he feels that there's a problem on either end, because what's on one job for him is missing on the other. And sometimes when he has to face his fear over monsters or thieves on the railway, he has to put his courageous sounding name to the test. My idea for him is that I want to make him I'm not going to make him part of the Farquhar trio, because people will mistake him for Thomas other than the wheel arrangement, but I digress. But my idea is that he works on the Brendan branch with Edward. You can see him up there with all of his friends. He occasionally takes goods and passengers to and from the harbor, and that's Leo for you guys. Now then, here's a really fun one. Geoffrey, or as he sometimes likes to be called, Big Jeff. Yeah, you can tell old Topham purchasing this hulking great monstrosity being overkill at the highest order. Okay. Yeah, as I stated, he sometimes likes to be called Big Jeff, meaning that he acts like a big brother figure to the little engines. And maybe Geoffrey can form a bond with Thomas and the other little tank engines. But unlike Rexel Jet's take on 87546, it's not for nefarious reasons, but rather from the goodness of his heart. He can be a big brother figure who stands up to the little engines. Thomas now wouldn't have to worry about getting any grief from Gordon or James, now that he can threaten to get his big brother to sort them out. And just to let you know, Geoffrey is a Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway 464 design. He is specifically one of the cancelled batch. My idea is that his order was cancelled and that he was sold off to the workshop. And Topham just buys it, and he not only sorts out trucks and coaches, but he is also entrusted with mainline work from time to time. Yeah, that's Geoffrey for you. And don't just go, Geoffrey, who's Geoffrey? You should know, okay. Anyways, last up we have Blondwin. Now, okay, the story from my headcanon for Blodwen is quite funny. I'll get to that in a minute. Now then, if you want to know what basis Blodwen is a Taft Vale Railway Class C, which were withdrawn very quickly from the GWR. And they were put up for sale, but nobody wanted them, and they were all scrapped. Let's see what would have happened if one of them made it to Sodor. And my idea is that after her nasty accident, Topham assured her that sometimes rules have to be broken. Because she's a stickler for the rules. And in my universe, Blondwin is not only a stickler for the rules, but is also a rat, a snitch. Meaning that if anyone lies to get themselves out of trouble, Blondwin just tells on them. Yeah, you can see this. And when the Little Western is open, she becomes a member of the Little Western, and you can see where I'm going with this. Something I like about this idea is that I can do something with her and Duck. Okay, this is where the funny part comes in. Basically, okay, the thing is, my headcanon for Blondwin and Duck is that they have a love-hate relationship. Basically, when Duck just wants to have a little bit of fun, and Blondwin just prevents him, saying it goes against the rules in her rule book, and blah, 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 you know. In fact, in Diesel's words, you two act like an old married couple. Yeah, they do bicker like an old married couple. It's funny, so I'll give him that. And I guess you could say that when Duck... And another thing is that... Uh, Blondwin kind of has a little pet peeve when Duck just, like, arranges his own trays. Let's just say he's, like, shutting a good straight. And Blodwen's just here and like, no, 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 Duck. You stop that truck just a centimeter away from the other. And Duck's just like, bruh, it's a freaking centimeter. It's not going to matter. Anyway, yeah, that's my headcanon from Blondwin there. So, tell me what you think of my headcanon for the workshop engines. Do you agree with some of these, or do you have your own personal takes? I'd love to hear your own thoughts. Alright, see y'all later. Peace.